Good morning, everyone. So, today we'll continue the module 4, that is refrigeration cycle and air conditioning. In the last class, we studied about refrigeration cycle, theory part as well as problematic part. Next, in this module, the other section will be your air conditioning. So air conditioning also not much differ by your refrigeration cycle. So cycle will remain same, component also will remain same like compressor, then after compressor we have the condenser, then we have the expander, then we have the evaporator. Evaporator over here it is like in refrigeration you have cabin where you have to cool the food or any other items below might be 5 degrees centigrade or 0 degrees centigrade even, so there you need a refrigeration cycle. But in air conditioning it's mainly about for human comfortness. So human comfortness, you feel very optimal temperature in and around 20 to 25 degrees centigrade, in between that temperature, so you feel comfortness. So air conditioning will deal about that, how to maintain that room temperature in and around 20 to 25 degrees centigrade. So where human general feeling of human will be feel is comfortness you can feel. So that part we will study over here. So we'll just go through the syllabus of this module. Refrigeration already gone through. Your air conditioning system, psychometrics and air conditioning. In this we will study about psychometric properties of air, psychrometric chart, then processes involved, heating, cooling, humidification to humidification, these processes and combination of these four processes, then the operative cooling, then adiabatic mixing of two moist airstream, then cooling towers and summer and winter air conditioning system. So these are the things we are going to cover in this today's class. So we will finish it off theory part of the air conditioning system. So next we will go for the introduction part of the refrigeration cycle. So whenever you talk about refrigeration in this application or air conditioning, which means we have to control the temperature of the system, or in especially when you talk about air conditioning, then we have to control the temperature, that is the dry bulb temperature. We will see what you mean by dry bulb temperature in the later stage. Then the humidity, cleanliness, ventilation of air, distribution of air, and air motions in the place where you want that comfortness in the system. So that is these are the things we are going to study. So whenever you talk about the psychrometry, so psychrometry is the study of properties of air and water vapor mixture and processes involving in the air and water vapor mixture. So this is nothing but psychrometry. So psychrometry is the study of the properties of air. Remember, properties of air and water vapor in the air. Whenever you talk about air, atmospheric air, so that means we will consist of in the air dry air and moist air. Dry air means without water vapor, it is considered as dry air. Moist air means with water vapor, we will consider as uh, moist air. So that property studies of air and water vapor mixture, that is known as psychrometry, and the processes involved which contains both air and dry air and water vapor mixture. So that is nothing but your psychrometry. So whenever you talk about psychrometry, then we have to study about air. So when with respect to air, we should know some basic concepts of air. So we know that air is a mixture of many gases plus water vapor and number of pollutants. The amount of water vapor and pollutants vary from place to place, because we can see in the Mangalore region you might have a humid condition, whereas in Bangalore or other region if you go, then the humidity might be less. So hence the water humidity means it is the water vapor content in the air. So water vapor content will be varies from place to place. Similarly, the pollutants also, the concentration of water vapor and pollutant decreases with the altitude. Remember, this one is a very important point. That is the concentration of water vapor and pollutant will decreases with the altitude, and above altitude of 10 km atmospheric air contains only dry air. Remember, after 10 kilometers of air, then we won't get the moist air, only dry air we are getting. And flow pollutants are filtered out before processing the air, hence what we have processed is essentially a mixture of various gas that constitute air and water vapor, and this mixture is known as moisture, as already told. Now we will study the properties of this air and the vapor pertaining this air conditioning problem. Okay, now first we'll talk about dry air. Dry air, it is the air which completely free from water vapor. Remember, we in dry air means that doesn't contain any kind of water vapor. So it is the mixture of nitrogen, oxygen, small percentage of other gases, but it doesn't consider the water vapor. Remember. So generally, whenever you talk about air that contains 79 percentage of nitrogen and 21 percentage oxygen by volume, so we won't consider water vapor. So it is a purely dry air we are considering. So molecular weight of dry air is 29. Next, we will have the moist air or humid air. So moist air is the mixture of dry air plus water vapor. Remember, moist air is, remember, it is the mixture of dry air plus water vapor. Together it is known as moist air. The amount of water vapor varies according to the temperature of air, and when it reaches saturation at one point. So all those things, it will depends amount of water in the air. Next, we will go across saturated air. What do you mean by saturated air? Saturated air is the mixture of dry and water vapor in which, remember, in which partial pressure of water vapor is equal to the saturation pressure of water at the temperature of the mixture. So saturation air or saturated air is nothing but it is the mixture of dry air and plus water vapor, similar, that is the moisture. It is the mixture moisture only, but in that partial pressure of water vapor is the, no, the partial pressure of that one, that is equivalent to saturation pressure. Remember, whenever that partial pressure of water vapor becomes saturation pressure, then that mixture is known as saturated air. Next, we will go for unsaturated air or humidity. Unsaturated air is the mixture of dry air and superheated water vapor, because it will pressure will be always above that saturation pressure, and the water vapor will be in the vapor form, so it is called as unsaturated vapor. Next, we will go for humidity. Humidity is nothing but the presence of water vapor in the air. So once you came across humidity, next we will find out what you mean by specific humidity. So specific humidity or humidity ratio or absolute humidity, one and the same. Remember, specific humidity, absolute humidity, humidity ratio, one and the same. It is the ratio of mass of water vapor to the mass of dry air in a air water vapor mixture, that is in a moisture. In the moisture, the ratio of mass of water vapor to the mass of dry air is known as humidity ratio or specific humidity, that is given by omega. So formula will becomes omega equals mv divided by ma. Remember, this is very important factor. Specific humidity is nothing but mass of water vapor divided by mass of dry air. So mv represent your mass of water vapor, ma represent mass of dry air. Next, whenever you talk about this mass of, this is the one common question you may encounter. That is prove that your humidity ratio or specific humidity is equal to 1 to 2 times partial pressure of water vapor divided by partial pressure of dry air. Pa represent dry air, Pv represent water vapor. Okay, how to prove that? Now you know the definition according to the definition. Before that, just we will consider some notations. V represent total volume of the air, temperature of the air. Pa represent partial pressure of dry air. A always represent partial pressure of dry air. V represent partial pressure of water vapor. Pt represent total atmospheric pressure, that is Pa plus Pv. Okay. Ma similarly mass of dry air, mass of water vapor. Va represents specific volume of dry air. Vb represents specific volume of water vapor. Ra gas constant of dry air, Rb gas constant of water vapor. Ma molecular weight of dry air 28.95, molecular weight of water vapor, that is 80. Okay, these are the things you should know before going for derivation. Next, we know that omega equals mv by ma as per the definition, mass of water vapor by mass of dry air. So use the this one perfect gas equation, mv, that is PV equals MRT. So M equals PV by RT. So PV divided by RT for vapor. Similarly, PA V divided by RA by, because we are consider total volume. So volume and temperature of entire gas it will remain same for water vapor as well as for a dry air, temperature will remain same since we are considered for a single volume. So V and T will get cancelled, PP into RA, PA into RV. The equation will become like this. Now you know RA value, RB value, just substitute. RA is 18.016 and 28.966 for RB value. So just substitute that one and you will get expression, that is 0.662 PV by PA. This is the expression for specific humidity or humidity ratio in terms of partial pressure. So you have now two formula, that is omega equals mu by ma, that is also equals 0.622 times pb by pa. So this is a one formula you have to remember, small derivation you have to remember. Okay, next we will go for that Dalton's law of partial pressure. Okay, so what do you mean by Dalton's law of partial pressure? So one of the very important thing, that is already you know Dalton's law in real gases already came across, that is total pressure of the mixture gas is equal to sum of the partial pressure of the exerted by the each gas or each constituent in the mixture of gases when it occupies same volume of the mixture at same temperature of the mixture. So that is nothing but Dalton's law. According to Dalton's law, I just you already have gone through this one in ideal and real gases. Same thing over here. You are applying over here. That's it. Yeah, P1 it is NRU T by V. Similarly, P2, P3. If we have a three constituent, three partial pressures, so total pressure will be P1 plus P2 plus P3. That is Dalton's law, where N1 and N2 represent number of moles for gases 1, 2, 3. Applying equation for your moisture. In the moisture we have the water vapor and dry air. So you have to apply the equation for the moisture. So only two constituent. So PT total pressure will be partial pressure of dry air, partial pressure of water vapor. So together it will gives the total pressure, barometric pressure of the equation. So that is nothing but your Dalton's law. Okay. Next, we have the relative humidity. Very important thing, relative humidity. So, whenever you talk about relative humidity, that is RH, you might have seen in today's, whenever they talk about temperature, along with the temperature, they will always tell RH is 60% humidity relative. They will tell in terms of relative humidity. They won't tell specific humidity. They will always in the TVs or any weather reports, if you go through RH value, they will tell 60 percentage of moisture, all those things will be there, RH will be there. So that is nothing but your RH, relative humidity. So what it states, or what is the definition of this RH, that is relative humidity? It is denoted by phi. It is the ratio of mass of water vapor in a certain volume of a moist air at a given temperature to the mass of water vapor. Remember. So relative humidity, it is in terms of mass, or we can tell in terms of your partial pressures. So another definition you can tell, it is the ratio of actual partial pressure of water vapor in the air to the partial pressure of saturated vapor at a dry bulb temperature. So that is nothing but ratio of actual partial pressure of water vapor. Actually, what is the partial pressure of water vapor in the mixture? It is the to the partial pressure of saturated vapor, when that liquid to vapor conversion will take place at what pressure, that is at what temperature. So that is the partial pressure you have to take. So it will relates according to your saturation pressure. So pi is denoted by water vapor partial pressure divided by water vapor saturation pressure, partial pressure of saturated vapor. So that is nothing but your relative humidity. Okay, so partial pressure of water vapor, saturation pressure of pure water vapor at same temperature. Okay, so PV represent actual pressure, PS represent partial pressure of your saturated vapor. So we have the omega equation. Omega is 0.662 times PV by PA. From here we can write PV equals pi times PS. So instead of PV you can write pi times PS. So we can get the relationship between omega and pi. Omega equals 0.622 times pi times PS by PA. So this is the relation you will get between specific humidity and relative humidity. Okay. So just note down this equation and definition. So in this air conditioning, main thing definition you should remember, then air conditioning system, then some small derivations. So that's it. A very easy theory part will be there over here. Then some heating cooling processes will be there, that I will explain. Okay. Degree of saturation or saturation ratio, we'll call it as saturation ratio. So what do you mean by saturation ratio or degree of saturation? So this is nothing but, it is defined as ratio of actual specific humidity of air, specific humidity, remember, ratio of actual specific humidity of air to the specific humidity of saturated air. Remember, saturated air, whenever the word saturated comes, that is the conversion of liquid to vapor. That point is known as saturation point. Okay, that is you have to remember. Okay, it is defined as ratio of actual specific humidity of air to the specific humidity of saturated air at same temperature. That is nothing but your saturation ratio or degree of saturation. It is denoted by mu, and mu is nothing but omega by omega. Yes, omega is the actual specific humidity, and this is specific humidity of saturated air. So we know that omega equals 0.662 times PV by PA. PA also you can represent total pressure minus PV. So in this way also you can represent omega. Okay. So omega is nothing but PV is nothing but partial pressure of omega S is nothing but 0.629 PS by PT minus PS. So now we have omega here, omega S here, substitute over here. So what you will get? Just check. PV by PS, PT minus PV, PS divided by PT minus PV. So this equation you will get in this PV by PS, that represent 5. So you will get mu is nothing but 5 times PT minus PS divided by PT minus PV. So this is equation you will get. That is the saturation degree of saturation. Okay. Next, very important thing as a general point, as well as your you should know about whenever you talk about the air conditioning system. So one is the temperature and temperature measurement, dry bulb temperature and wet bulb temperature. I think dry bulb temperature already you know that it's normal thermometer you are measuring the temperature, right? That is nothing but dry bulb temperature. So wet bulb temperature, before that we will go for definition. Dry bulb temperature, it is the temperature of the air, temperature of the air water mixture measured by an ordinary mercury glass tube thermometer, whereas wet bulb temperature is the measurement made by the mercury in a glass bulb thermometer whose bulb is covered with the wet cloth or air is allowed to pass over that wet bulb with certain velocity. We can see over here, this is the normal thermometer. We are measuring the dry bulb temperature. It will be always higher than that WBT. Here water vapor will condenses along with the this one cloth will be around it in the bulb, so that water vapor it will condenses over here, and so temperature of the dry air will be measured. While so whenever the WBT, this is called as WBT, this is called as DBT. Okay, DBT, dry bulb, WBT. Okay, wet bulb temperature is the temperature recorded by a thermometer when the bulb is covered with the cotton wick saturated with the vapor. So what will happen as the air is stream passes over it? So water will evaporate. So water will evaporate, taking the latent heat from the water soaked wick. So this is water soaked wick will be there. So it will evaporate in the air, thus decreases the temperature of the air. So because since it is water is there, that will be evaporated, so it will take the heat and it will enter into the air, and so what will happen, air temperature will decreases. So energy is transferred from the air to wick. So when the equilibrium condition is reached, there is a balance between the energy recovered from the water film by the evaporation and energy supplied by the wick by heat transfer. So there will be, initially we will get a fluctuation, or might be you won't get constant reading. So after some time, after reaching the heat transfer equilibrium between this wet wick and air stream, then it will get the constant temperature, and that minimum temperature recorded. So whatever the minimum, once it comes down and minimum temperature it will be recorded, that is known as wet bulb temperature. So whenever you talk about psychrometer, that is a instrument which will measures both dry bulb and wet bulb temperature together. One instrument you can measure a dry bulb temperature and wet bulb temperature, that is known as psychrometer. So we can see over here, the whenever the air stream is passed, dry bulb temperature will be there, water vapor will be there. So whenever it will pass, water vapor will condense over here. So you will get the water reservoir. So water also pass. So temperature will keeps on decreases, and one particular time equilibrium reach. So we can measure this one. So one instrument will be the used, that is psychrometer, where you can measure both the dry bulb temperature and wet bulb temperature of the air. So and one more will be the sling thumb psychrometer that I have not explained or not given over here. So this is a representative or a psychrometer, normal psychrometer. Okay, sling I have not explained because one and the same, the just a difference in the method of measurement. That's it. Okay. So next we will go for wet bulb diffraction. What do you mean by wet bulb diffraction? So one of the important thing whenever you talk about wet bulb diffraction. So it is the difference between the temperature recorded by the dry bulb temperature and the wet bulb temperature. So always dry bulb temperature will be in the higher condition, WBT will be in the lower state, means lower temperature than the DBT. Hence there will be a difference between the WBT and the DBT. So that difference is known as wet bulb diffraction. So this is a very important factor because we can check how much air can be saturated, or to which extent air can be saturated. Because of this difference we can calculate This is very important. And if the air is completely dry, then WB at bulb diffusion will be maximum. Means there won't be any water. This one vapor in the air. Then that is called as pure dry air. So during that temperature, WBD will be in the maximum condition, and air can be saturated will be maximum level. So air is saturated and WBD will. Next, adiabatic saturation temperature. So adiabatic saturation temperature, this one, so it is the temperature at which air gets saturated by adiabatic evaporation of water into the air, and it is approximately equal to WBT only. So just you note down the definition. Next, dew point temperature. So one of the important another parameter, that is the dew point temperature. So what do you mean by dew point temperature? So if you take a sample of unsaturated moisture containing superheated water vapor, which will be cooled at some constant pressure Pw, the mixture will eventually saturate at dew point temperature. So of the water vapor and partial pressure of that, which will start condensing and dew start appearing. So this temperature is called as dew point temperature. So or in other words, we can tell it is the lowest temperature of the air. Remember, lowest temperature of the air water vapor mixture at which condensation will begin. Condensation means liquid droplet formation will begins, because in the normal air you can see your water vapor in a vapor state. So and the temperature keep on decreases, your mixture air mixture keep on decreases. So at one particular temperature, what will happen, the liquid droplet starts begins. So you can see in the early morning in the leaves some droplet of water will be there. So that is nothing but due to that dew point temperature, water droplets will be there from air to that leaf. Okay, so it is lowest temperature of air water mixture at which condensation begins when air is cooled at a constant pressure of water vapor. So that pressure only, if you kept on cooling at one particular time or particular temperature, condensation will begin. That temperature is known as dew point temperature. If the saturation temperature of the water corresponding to the vapor pressure PV, see this is the we can say dew point temperature. See, if it is atmospheric temperature is this one, so this is the partial pressure. So this is the partial pressure, saturation pressure. So this is the temperature. So this is the temperature. If you want cooling of this air at a particular to this pressure, this is the pressure line, constant pressure line. This is the constant pressure line. So here cooling the air at same pressure, when it reaches over here this particular temperature, it will start condensation. So this temperature is known as dew point temperature. Remember, this temperature is known as dew point temperature. That is the meaning of dew point temperature. Next, carrier equation. Just you note on this carrier equation. That's it. Which will calculate the partial pressure of water vapor in the air when dBT and WBT are given. Okay, partial pressure you should know, dBT and WBT you should know. So then the partial pressure of water vapor you can measure. So just note on this equation, carrier equation. Next, psychrometric chart. Most of the time they will ask for 4 to 5 marks. Explain psychrometric chart. So psychrometric chart, what it will tell for the calculation of various property. Now we are told WBT, DBT, dew point temperature, relative humidity, specific humidity, then saturation lines, then specific volume, enthalpies, so many things are there. So how to find out that that thing for air? So one chart is given, that is known as psychrometric chart. According to this psychrometric chart, that will gives the graphical representation or graphical plot. If one or 2 points are known, other all parameters you can calculate using this graphical graphical line method. So in this we can measure specific humidity, partial pressure, water vapor line, dry bulb temperature, wet bulb temperature. So all those things you can measure. So in this we have the so in this psychrometric chart, we can analyze the data for complete thermodynamic and psychrometric analysis for air conditioning process. So which will be very easy. So this chart will make possible to obtain necessary information readily for engineering calculation related to moist air known as psychrometric chart. So this psychrometric chart constructed for a given mixture pressure. So for a given mixture pressure, using dBT and the specific humidity as a coordinate, dBT will be in the x-axis, specific humidity will be in the y-axis. So these are the using this coordinate we have to give the data. So at a given mixture pressure, the vapor pressure PV is a function of specific humidity only. So and hence there is only one value of PV for each value of omega. So whatever omega will be there, so there will be only one value of for a specific humidity. Okay. So in this first we have the saturation curve. This is known as saturation curve. So the saturation line or curve represent the state of the saturated air. This is the state of the saturated air at the different temperatures. Okay, wet bulb and dew point temperature fall on this curve. So WBT and DPT also it will falls on this curve. Remember, this is the saturation curve. Then relative humidity lines, these are the curves. So humidity ranging from 0 to 100%. So minimum is 0%. So this is RH is there, no? RH we can see in the curves, like this curves will be there. So from 0 to 100 it will be there. Then the constant specific volume lines, so these are the constant dashes you can see. These are the constant specific volume lines. So which will be equally spaced, spacing will be equally spaced. The WBT lines are much flatter than this constant enthalpy line. So this will be the constant enthalpy line. So next DBT lines, dry bulb temperature lines, straight lines, equally spaced straight line will be the DBT. Specific humidity line, these are the horizontal line. These are the horizontal line. Okay. So this is about your psychrometric chart. So this one you can obtain in your Steam data handbook. You can see psychrometric chart. You just refer the page number. So at the end it will be there. So at the end come backwards. So you will get psychrometric chart. So that will look like this. So this is a picture taken from your Steam data handbook. We can see over here dry bulb temperature -5 to 45 will be there. So then your mass of vapor will be there on y axis. So specific humidity also will be there on your y axis. Okay, this will be your saturation curve, WBT, and saturation temperature line. Saturation temperature and WBT line are here. Okay, and you can see 0.775, 0.8, 0.825. These are the specific volumes, and these are the relative humidity: 10%, 20%, 30%, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. This one will be 100. Okay, these are the enthalpy lines: enthalpy, 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 enthalpy. So this together it is known as psychrometric. So analysis, thermodynamic analysis we can do for mixture of dry air and moist air, so that all the parameters you can calculate easily. This information you can get in a psychrometric chart. Okay. Next, very important thing, the process. In the psychrometric process, we have totally 10 processes. One is sensible cooling. Sensible cooling is here psychrometric chart is there now. This is psychrometric chart. Remember, this will be like omega on y-axis, dBT, that is dry bulb temperature on x-axis. So if you take this point, if you keep horizontal on the left side, if you keep horizontal to left side, then it is called as sensible cooling. Okay, then we have the sensible heating. Sensible heating means from this point, if you take horizontally rightwards, horizontal rightwards, that is sensible heating. So cooling is nothing but temperature will decreases. Heating means temperature will increases. Constant your specific humidity, at constant specific humidity your temperature will keep on increases. Constant specific temperature keep on decreases. So this is sensible cooling. This is sensible heating. Okay, that you can understand. Next one will be humidification and dehumidification. So from this point, if you go vertically upwards, that is called as humidification. Humidification is nothing but the moisture content you are going to increases. Humidity in the air, it is going to increases. So at constant temperature, same temperature. Okay. Dehumidification means your humidification will keep on decreases at particular temperature. That is nothing but dehumidification. Okay, 1 2 3 4, 1 cooling, 2 heating, 3 humidifying, 4 dehumidifying. Okay, next fifth you can check, it is in between 1 and 4. 1 is cooling, 4 is dehumidifying. So fifth will be cooling and dehumidification, just combination of that one. That's it. Once you know 1 2 3 4, then 6 7 8 will be very easy. 5 6 7 8. So what you can about 6, 6 will be between cooling and humidifying. So it will be combination of cooling and humidifying. 7 heating and dehumidifying. Heating and dehumidifying. 8 heating and humidifying. That's it. So this is the 8 process, basic process in psychrometry. Along with that, we will have the uh, adiabatic saturation and adiabatic mixing of air streams, so two air streams. So these are the things we are going to study. After this, very easy this one. You can identify theory part over here. Okay. First, sensible cooling. So whenever you talk about sensible cooling, so it passes, see, chamber here, cooling coil will be there, cooling coil will be there, state at will be at 1.1. So this will be the temperature at 3, cooling temperature will be at 3, and this will be temperature at 2. So air will undergo sensible cooling whenever it passes over your cooling coil, which will be having temperature less than a T1. Okay, it should be less than T1. Okay, T3 should be always less than 3.1. Okay, then the temperature of air will greater than the dew point temperature. Thus sensible cooling can be achieved by passing over the air over the cooling coil or the operating coil of your refrigeration. So during this process, what will happen is, here we have kept W omega is constant, that is specific humidity is constant. So what will happen, temperature of 1 will decreases, 3 will increase, 3 will increase at the end of the 3. Okay, so temperature keep on decreases, hence cooling effect can be achieved at point 2. So on psychrometric chart, 1 is maximum temperature, 3 will be cooling water temperature. So this will be like this, cooling will be 1 to 2. Okay, so here temperature like this, it will be 3 represent effective surface temperature of the coil, cooling coil. This is how cooling can be done. So heat removed, how to get heat removed from 1 to 2. ME is represent mass of dry air, H1 minus H2 that represent heat removed. So here one term we will get bypass factor. While whenever you are cooling the air, it is defined as ratio of uncontacted air to the total air supply. So this one you just if you want to you can refer any other textbook. So I don't want to go deeper because so many things are there to explain whenever you talk about bypass factor. So I will just go through this definition, that is ratio of uncontacted air to the total air supply. The sensibility, similar way sensibility will be there. So in the sensibility means temperature will be in the lower temperature whenever the cooling place is there in Jammu Kashmir you can take. So always the surrounding temperature is lower. So you want some heating effect inside the your house. So then heating is process has to be needed. So surrounding temperature is lower, then the heating coil will be there. It is the highest temperature. Then heat transfer take place. Air will be gets heated. So whenever air passes through the dry surfaces, which is having the temperature greater than the air, it undergoes the sensible heating. So thus heating can be achieved by passing the air to the overheating coil like electric resistance heating coil or steam coils. So during this process, surface omega kept constant. So how to measure the Ma into H1 minus H2, H2 minus H1. Okay, next humidification process. Humidification process that is nothing but at a constant temperature you are adding the water content to the air. Remember, humidification process. Humidification process is nothing but at constant temperature you are adding the water content to the air. So how to add the water? Water might be like you are spraying the water content in the air. All those things methods are there. So many methods you can do the humidification process. Okay, so in this process we can get that how you can achieve in the later stage when air conditioning system. So what will happen? This is the latent heat of heat addition process in which no dry bulb temperature changes but changes only specific humidity. So RH value will increases from 1 to 2. So during humidification process, specific humidity, that is omega 1 to omega 2, also increases due to addition of moisture content in the air at that temperature, particular temperature. Okay, that will increases the humidification. This is humidification. Okay, humidification similar way we will have the, too much water content in the air. To remove that one, we have to remove the water content or water vapor in the air. So that process is known as at particular temperature. That process is known as dehumidification process. So this is achieved by passing air over the cooling coil. Okay, next combination of this very important cooling and dehumidification. So first we have to cool, as well as humidity also you have to decrease. That is nothing but cooling and dehumidification. So in this water vapor we have to remove air by cooling it below the dew point temperature. So as a result what will happen, cooling process is a portion of water vapor in the air is condensed. Dehumidification process will take place along with the cooling when the saturation temperature of the cooling coil is below the dew point temperature. So here we can see point 1 will be the initial condition, point 4 will be your outlet condition. Okay, so in this process the temperature warm air at 1 enters the cooling coil, which is maintained at a temperature of T3. Remember, this temperature is maintained at T3. So maintained at T3. The surface temperature of the cooling coil T3 is lesser than dew point. See, dew point temperature is 2. See, if you take air over here at this point, then the dew point temperature will be this one, 2. but your surface now cooling coil temperature is this one 3. So that means this temperature is less than 2. So lesser than the dew point temperature of the incoming air, uh, which is at T4 and T2. Under ideal condition, air leaves at 2. So under ideal condition, air leaves at 3, but due to insufficient cooling, it leaves at a higher temperature at 4. So means what will happen? Here cooling will become, see, whenever this passes through a cooling coil and whenever you want to remove the humidification process, it will cool like this, it has to come over here, but it won't come here because your moisture content also you are removing and you are cooling also. So what will happen, sir? It will come to over this point rather than coming over here. It will comes over here because the dew point temperature will be more than this one, so it will come over here. So cooling effect won't be a perfect cooling, so it will come over here point. So net effect will be from 1 to 4. So this is the process you need, that is cooling and dehumidification process. Okay, so this is how your cooling and dehumidification process will be done. So as a result, what will happen? Your RH value decreases, dry bulb temperature also decreases. Okay. Next, cooling and humidification. It is just a reverse process. Whatever you talk about uh, cooling and dehumidification, here cooling and humidifying process. So in the cooling and humidifying process, what will happen? Here this is the point. This is your surface temperature. So it will come over here. 1 to 2 will be your cooling and humidification process. So you are adding the water content over here. As a result, what will happen? RH will increases, dry bulb temperature decreases. Cooling will be decreased, RH will increase. Next, adiabatic saturation. Next, heating and humidification, heating and dehumidification, that is not needed. So if you want, you can just explain by yourself. Adiabatic saturation. So what do you mean by adiabatic saturation? So So, if humidification is carried out, that is, the water content is added adiabatically, cooling and humidification, if it is done adiabatic, humidification is done adiabatically, the energy required for the evaporation of added moisture must come from entering the air. So, that process is known as adiabatic saturation. So, warm air will come over here. You are just spraying the water spray, so this water will gets transfers the heat, but net you are not adding the any kind of heat. The process will be becomes adiabatic in nature. So such kind of saturation of this water vapor is called as adiabatic saturation. So as the dry bulb temperature of air decreases during the adiabatic humidification process, it is also known as evaporative cooling process. Remember, this one is also known as evaporating cooling because when you are adding the water spray on your air, so cooling effect will be there. Cooling because water vapor will be evaporates and it will comes along with the warm air. Okay, you are just adding the water vapor to the warm air, so evaporation will take place adiabatically. So hence cooling, net cooling will be there, also water content will increase. So hence this is called as evaporating cooling also, or adiabatic saturation or adiabatic humidification of air. Okay, this is adiabatic saturation. Next we will have the adiabatic mixing of two streams. So whenever you talk about adiabatic mixing of two streams, so this kind of problem you will encounter common in air conditioning system, because in air conditioning system you keep on opening and closing of the door will be there, fresh air will enter. So already another will be air, so in a duct two air will come into together ventilation of air will be there, circulation of the air will be there. So mixing of the air will be the common thing will be there in your air conditioning system. So this problem in air condition where ventilation of the air and some recirculation of air are mixed prior to the processing it to a desired state and supplying it to the conditioned space. So during this adiabatic mixing, what will happen? So we have to make the energy balance. So one air will be stream at mass 1 omega 1 h1, another air stream will be at mass 2 omega 2 h2. So what will be the mixing of the air? So whenever these two mixes, there won't be any heat transfer. There won't be any heat transference. Make you have to make the energy balance equation. So while balancing the energy, what will happen? Inlet inlet is equal to outlet. So mass of m1 into h1 plus omega 1 into h1 plus m2 in the bracket h2 plus omega h2, so hv2. So that is equals m3 h3 h3 plus omega 3 into hv3. So like this equation you will get while balancing the mass, that is ma plus m1 plus m2 equals f3, because it will added up, m1 plus m2 will becomes m3. So then making the moisture balance, then you will get m1 by m2 m1 by m2, that's equals omega 3 minus omega 2 divided by omega 1 minus omega 3. Balancing you will get like this. So you will get this equation. So this is about adiabatic mixing of the two streams. Next, air conditioning. We will go for air conditioning. So whenever you talk about air conditioning, we have to maintain the comfort zone for human. So either depending upon the surrounding temperature, either you want to heat or cool, then we have to circulate the air, control the moisture content. So all those things we have to do in the air conditioning system. So basically we have two types of air conditioning system. One is the comfort air conditioning system and second one is the industrial air conditioning system. In the comfort air conditioning, again it is three types are the summer air conditioning, winter air conditioning, all year air conditioning. In the summer, again we have two types depending upon the place: hot weather with wet condition, another hot weather with dry condition. Wet condition means humidity will be high, dry condition means humidity will be less. That's it. So that you have to know. Wet means always humidity is more, dry means humidity is less. So requirement of the air conditioning, the 5 points are there. That is whenever you talk about air conditioning, supply of O2 will be there, because your closed room will be there, oxygen supply should be there, and while breathing your air in the nose, in the while human breathing, CO2 will be released, and so CO2 has to be removed, O2 has to be supplied. Then human will be having a higher temperature, and so removal of heat will be necessary. Then removal of body moisture will be necessary. Then you have to provide sufficient air movement and distribution in the space, maintain the purity of air, removing the odor and dust. These are the conditions you have to satisfy. First one is the oxygen supply. So whenever you talk about oxygen supply, human body takes oxygen through the system and it gives out CO2. Normally each person required 0.65 meter cube of O2 per hour and produces a 0.2 meter cube of CO2, and supply of O2 and removal of CO2 is necessary. So the percentage of CO2 in atmosphere is about 0.6 percentage, and it is necessary to maintain that this percentage in your air. So this quantity of air supply in the air conditioning space should be regulated properly, and we have to see percentage of removal. Next, heat removal. It is well known factor that human beings dissipate good amount of heat to the atmosphere during breathing. So atmosphere should capable of absorbing the heat dissipated by the person, otherwise discomfort will exist. The sufficient circulation of air should be there. inside the system, so that we have to maintain the conditioned space. Next, moisture will lose up to 50% from the human body, which is commonly observed, and this should be properly taken out in designing the air conditioning system. The ventilation system should be capable of maintaining RH around 70, means below 70%. RH should be there in the room. Air movement, that is the circulation of the air. Air motion distribution is very important because we have to get the comfortness, and so motion and distribution will be, air motion will be very important. Distribution is defined as uniform supply of air in a conditioned space. Movement without proper distribution is permissible for local cooling sensation known as draft. A velocity about 8 meter per minute associated with the temperature different to 1 degree centigrade do not result in a noticeable draft. Velocity greater than this produces the uncomfortable drafting condition. So we have to maintain 8 meter per minute. Next, purity of air is very important thing because it should not have any kind of odor, or it should not produce any toxic gases, so which will unhealthy condition is created by the air conditioning system. So that has to be taken care of very predominantly. The various factor that will makes impure the operation of surface of body adds the odor to the air. Smoke from the surrounding, which has a bad effect on nose, eyes, and heart. Toxic gases are objectionable as it. Okay, now we came to the final step. Very important. Most of the time they will ask this either any one of the system, that is summer air conditioning and winter air conditioning. In the summer we have two types air conditioning. One is a hot and wet weather condition. Another one is a hot and dry weather conditions. So first we will talk about the hot and wet weather conditions. So we can see now surrounding temperature is very hot and it is in a wet, means humidity of the air is more. Now we want to remove that humidity and we have to make the room cool. This is your objective, means what is your objective? First you have to cool the room. Room has to be cooled, and moisture content in the air has to be removed. That is what you have to do. We have to, dehumidification is required. One is cooling and we have to dehumidify the air. That is the main objective of this condition. Hot and wet weather condition means we want to remove the air and means cool the air, and we want to remove the moisture content in the system. So this is the system, this is the air inlet, dampers provided, then filters are there, then we have the cooling coil, then we have the heating coil, so then conditioned space. So these are the things involved in the system. So in the system is when the outdoor condition is hot and humid, like this condition will occurs in coastal regions, wet weather condition, coastal regions especially. So this is called as a hot and humid condition. We will call it as, instead of wet, you can call it as humid condition. So one and the same. Remember, hot and wet also same, hot and humid also same. So this is the like coastal areas. So that means atmospheric temperature is higher than, but same time large moisture content will be there. So this condition will eliminate the need of adiabatic humidifier. So atmospheric air at 1, so at 1 the condition at the present will be 1. Okay, that will be enters the air filter through dampers. So filtered air will be passing over your cooling coil. Cooling coil, what will happen, it will makes the cool. So cool will be like this, effective cool will be from 1 to 2, like this it will come. Temperature decrease, then it will reaches, because effective cooling won't be there, so cooling will be like this. So this is the cooling will be there. So point 3 it will reaches the condition 1 2 3, that is 1 2 3 on TBT of air, that will represent cooling of the your air. While passing over the cooling coil with an efficient coil, air would be cooled at 2. If it is cooling coil will be 100% efficient, then it will reaches over here. Since it is not 100%, then it will reaches over here somewhere here, depending upon the efficiency of the cooling coil. Okay, as the air temperature is still below the required comfort zone will be your this one. Okay, since air percentage will be, because humidity is more, now we have to remove the humidity. As the temperature is still below the required comfort zone, it is now passed over your heating coil. So while heating coil, what will happen after cooling heating coil, what will happen? Air coming out of the cooling coil in the condition 5, which is delivered to the space. So line 354, this line represents dBT of air which passes the heating coil. See, if it is perfect heating coil, from 3 to 4 it will be there. Since it is not perfect heating coil, it will become 3 to 5. Okay, remember. So heating coil, what will happen while heating? The moisture first in the air will rise up. It will forms the vapor and it will be rejected from the air. So this is how we are maintaining the dehumidifying the air and cooling the air. So final point will be your 5. So 4 points represent maximum temperature that could be obtained when it is effective heating is done. So in this way you can maintain hot and wet weather condition. Okay, next one is the summer air condition only, but hot and dry condition. So this is also called as a hot and dehumid condition. So what will happen? So this is the system when your surrounding temperature is hot and dry means the water content is very less. Okay, this means atmospheric temperature is higher than the comfort zone with less moisture content, less RS. So this is your point 1. Okay, temperature is more, humidity is less. Now we required temperature should be less and humidification should be there. Okay, some percentage of water vapor you should have. So what will happen? We have the air filter, cooling coil. So next, in this case, you want to add the water, so humidifier will come into picture. Humidifier, remember humidifier. Then we will have the water eliminator, then it is conditioned space. Okay, these are the component will be there in the summer air conditioning, hot and dry condition. Okay, so initially air at 1 which is having higher dBT and lower RH value enters the air damper, so contamination will be eliminated and passes over the cooling coil. Whenever the cooling coil is done, it is cooled, sensibly cooling. Okay, sensibly cooling. So actually it has to come 0.4, but it will come up to 2 because effective cooling won't be there, 100% cooling won't be there, hence it will reach us the point 2 in the cooling coil. Now air enters the adiabatic humidifier. After cooling, it will enter to the humidifier. In the humidifier, we will have the small pump. Makeup pump will be there. Makeup water will be there. So here it will be sprayed. Water will be sprayed along the air. So very fine particle of water will be sprayed in the humidifier. So what will happen as part of, over the eliminator, air enters the humidifier and water will be sprayed over air. So water, it will evaporate at that partial pressure and it will increases the moisture content in the air. Okay, so hence it will become 3 to 5, 2 to 5. So 2 to 5 actually it is, if it is perfect humidifier 2 to 5, but perfect won't be there, so it will comes over 0.3. Okay, so this is how your humidification is there. Then it is coming to water eliminated. If any water particle is there, then it will be eliminated over here, so only moisture will goes into the conditioned space. So this is how we are making hot and dry weather condition. So this is a summer air conditioning system. Okay, next we will have the winter. So in the winter, what is the requirement during winter air atmospheric? What will happen? The surrounding temperature will be lower. Okay, surrounding temperature will be lower. So we want to increase the temperature of also in the winter season. You will have the relative humidity more. We want to eliminate that moisture content also. You won't get another way. Only one way is there. Humidity is more and the temperature is less in the surrounding. Okay, now we want the temperature is more and we want to dehumidify. Humidification is required. So humidity will be. So what you have to do now in the during this one? So in the winter air conditioning system. So we have the air air filters, air filters, then heating coil will be there, then again we have humidification, then again we have the heating coil. See here two heating coil is provided, in between two heating coil we have the humidifier. So in after humidifier water eliminator will be there. So now we will see the process. Now starting from point one initial condition here, it will filters the air, then it is going to the heating coil. Heating coil, what will happen? It will heats up the air. So after heating up, due to insufficient inefficient cooling, so it will reaches 2 instead of 3. So now we are reached point 2 over here. Next we are going inside the humidifier. Okay, so in the humidifier what will happen, sir? You are spraying the water, so you are increases the, because while eating your moisture content will be reduced, so once again you are making the same moisture content over here by adding the humidification process. Okay, after humidification process, what will happen, it will eliminate the water contents, then again because we want to require condition at 7 or 6, again we want to heat the coil so that the required temperature is achieved. So this is how we are maintaining the winter air conditioning system. So in this way we are completed the air conditioning system topic. So problems you have to solve by yourself. If you want, I will explain separately, or else you have to solve by me, because air condition refrigeration problem I already covered. So that will be very easy compared to this air conditioning. So theory part I told, because so there is will be mixing always. So theory part is very easy, air conditioning system. So this will complete the module 4. Okay, thank you.